My name's Chandra Antone, and this is my pony Beasley. I'm going to start doing the groundwork with him. I'm going to start by just having him move around in the round pen. So he's going to wear the saddle just to get used to it, and I'm just going to let him loose out here. I'm just going to throw the rope out here. So I'm just going to send him off, and he's going to face me. I'm going to point, and then I'm going to cluck to him, and then I'm going to have him go, but he's going to go, but come on. Let's go a little faster. Like, depending on the horse, I'll have him go fast or slow. He's kind of lazy, so I'm going to kind of speed him up to begin with. If you have one that's more forward, I'm going to just start out at a walk and kind of gradually get them up and then bring them back down, but he's going to go a little bit faster sooner. So my cues to walk are I just point, I cluck once, and then I back it up with my whip. And then to trot, I'm going to point, I'm going to cluck twice, and then the same thing. So. And if he didn't go forward, I would just continue with my whip, and I get closer every step until I hit him and he goes forward. But I'm going to ask him to go near things that he wants to be at. So he wants to stop at the gate, and he wants to stop right there because he lives right there. So those are the places where I'm going to have him go forward. And then if he breaks gate, like he wants to go there, so. And I didn't have to use the whip. And with him, he can be a little cranky, so I also want to watch his ears. I will keep pressuring and asking him to go forward till one of those ears pops up. And it's kind of the same thing. He needs to go forward and have his ears forward. So I'm going to have him canter when he gets to the gate. See, his ears are pinned. There's his ears go forward. And he'll do that. He goes about half a lap before he decides that he doesn't want to go forward. Alright, when I have him stop and turn and face me, it's important that you give him kind of a minute to just kind of stand there instead of really quickly changing directions or having him go off again. It just gives him a minute to kind of think about what you were asking and just rest, and then while he's resting, he's facing you. So facing and eventually coming to you is going to be where his reward. So he'll look to come into you. So right now, like he doesn't really want to come up to me, but he's at least facing me, so he gets a reward there. But especially the ones that don't want to turn to the inside, doing this and letting them rest there is really important. You don't want to turn them really fast or they won't stand and stop there. So you want to rest them there for a couple minutes until they relax before changing them the other way. So when I had him go the other way, I was just walking behind him like even with my stirrup, and then when I'm ready to have him come in, I just back up, and then that draws him into me. But I'm just going to send him off the other way, so I'm just going to point the other way and then cluck and step toward this opposite shoulder. I want him to go forward and not just sniff the ground. But I just kind of stay in the center, and I just walk a little small circle, and I'm just about even with the girth, a little bit behind the girth. You don't want to get in front of it because that's where you ask him to turn and come into you and stop. So I'm going to wait till he gets to the gate, and I'm going to have him trot. And he goes right into it. That was nice. He had his ears up, and I didn't need to use my whip. Like, you don't want to step backwards while you're doing this, you want to always step forward and kind of drive him forward. It's getting a little lazy there. Like, you can speed him up in other places. I just speed him up at those two places because those are his magnets. That's where he wants to stop and rest there. But if he's like going to a walk over here, I'll put him back into a trot. Just kind of being lazy. I'm going to have him canter. There's that ear. So I'd like him to canter that whole lap, but he usually doesn't. He's pretty lazy. But he does go forward when I ask. So like, he's gonna try it. I'm gonna have him, and I'm gonna keep asking there. His ear came forward, so my whip stops. His ear came forward and I stop cueing. So if his ear's back, I'm gonna point, kiss. I'm gonna keep doing, I would still be kissing, but I would keep pointing, keep putting pressure on him until that ear comes forward. You don't necessarily have to kiss to him, but I'm just not because I'm talking, but you don't need to run him around a lot. It's just more about the transition. He's just kind of lazy. You just want to have some good transition. So if he's going forward, like he went forward, I didn't have to get after him or anything. So he's being pretty good. You don't need to run him around and change directions really fast and do anything crazy. It's more about getting him to go forward. And then he learns those voice commands. I'm just going to let him walk so he doesn't trot around while I'm talking. But it's to learn the voice commands that transfer over to when you ride him. So then when I get on him and I kiss to him, he'll just go into a canter. I want him to still walk though. But he was like those last couple laps, like he had his head down, he was nice and relaxed, and he just kind of cruising around. Like I wouldn't let one just go down to a walk whenever he wants, but I didn't want him trotting around circles for no reason. But it's not for him to really follow me around and like be a horse whisperer and all that stuff. It's to learn things that he'll use when you ride him. See, he's looking to come in, so I'm gonna be like, no, you're gonna stay out there. So it's the same kind of training thing. It's do the opposite of what he wants to do. So he wants to come in, so I'm gonna be like, no. So he's kind of tracking out. He's not by his magnets. I'm just gonna step back, and he'll just draw into me. And I'd rather him kind of be a bit straighter. So I'm gonna move over to push those shoulders over a little bit, like that, and then I'll back up. And it doesn't matter if he comes up to me or if he stays out on the rail. It's not a huge deal. Like Rhett comes right up to me, but he's more standoffish. He's not as lovable. But as long as they're coming and drawing into you and they're straight, that's all I want. Like that's fine. See there, he came over, he stood here, and then he relaxed. That's what I'm waiting for. Like I want him to give me a sign of relaxation once I stop him before I do something else. Because then he's thinking, he's like, oh yeah, okay, I learned whatever I learned while he was round penning. He came down, he was relaxed, and now he can move on. So it's like, if I canter him around and then I want to just walk, but he can't walk, he wants to trot and get all wound up, like this will teach him not to do that. He can run around and canter, and then he can stop, and then he rests, and he can just relax. So he'll get faster at coming back down from that. And that's what all of them need. But he'll just stand there for a minute, and then once he relaxes like that, I'm just gonna make sure that he's still connected to me. Like I don't need him to follow me around and do all that stuff. It's not that important, but he does need to move his hindquarters and kind of listen to my body language. So like there he crossed his hind legs, so then I'll leave him alone. He's distracted, but there he crossed his hind legs. So he was distracted, but he's paying attention. So I can walk over there and move his body without going over there and moving my whip and doing all that stuff. And then like if you have one that doesn't want to come into you, I would bring him in and then let him rest right here, right next to you. And then like Rhett would be opposite. He likes to come in and stand around top of you. So I let him kind of rest on the rail so he's not running up as close as possible to rest. So like he likes to kind of be standoffish, so he can just hang out here for a minute and realize that coming up to me is a good thing. But I rather have them in the middle so he's not running me over, but he's not just ignoring me either.